Hello and welcome back to another great episode of Real Weird Sickos. My name is Tom Videogro and I hope you're having a terrific day, no matter you are on this magical globe. As I fuck up the lines, but you know who doesn't fuck up? That's my good friend, Dojangles. Jen, what you up to?
You know, it's hot as balls outside.
Oh my lord.
So I'm not up to anything because it's hot as balls.
Fair.
Yeah.
Understandable. And it is a intercontinental affair as our good friend, Mr. Charles Khan, is heating up. What are you doing, Mr. Charles Khan?
You want to talk about heating up? All right, let me tell you something, brother. I have heated up today. There's a deal at a certain fast food chain where you can buy 50 chicken nuggets for $10.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit! Jesus Christ!
And so not only did I buy
10?
Not only did I buy 50 chicken nuggets, I bought the spicy ones.
The spicy ones are not good. Why didn't you just get the regular ones?
The good ones.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They taste like they're stale.
They are.
The
And
spicy nuggies taste
50?
stale.
Guess who ate all 50?
You're Cool Hand Luke. Not Cool Hand Luke. What's
matey.
the fucking egg? Which one
Hot
was the one with the
Charles?
eggs?
That's the new one.
50 chicken
And I will
nuggets.
say,
I ate them and I laughed about it.
Nice.
In Australia, we will have to say, I think there was a similar deal from another fast food chain, and it was for $10 you got 20. So it looks like the Australian dollar is, as again, fucking worthless.
It is.
As it is always. It is exactly. But you know what isn't worthless? It's the time that we spend with the world's greatest pastime, video games, as that's today's topic. So, weird video games. I know we've got a lot on the docket for this one. I know all of us here are perpetual shit posters and video gamers. But Charles, what's one off the top of the block that you would love to talk about?
Well, brother, let me tell you something. The weirdest thing I think I've ever seen in a video game, there's two of them. It's called Mr. Mosquito for the PlayStation 2.
Ooh.
You play as a goddamn mosquito who has to go and suck blood. So there's a family. There's a family of people, of like a weird Japanese family, and you go through different days of the week as you harass this family in different rooms of the house. And you have to use the analog sticks to fly this guy at land. And then you have to spin the right stick around to try to suck the blood out before there's like a meter that you have to keep in the right area before the people realize that they're having their blood sucked. And so it becomes a weird flight sim thing, but it's also absurd because you're trying not to get swatted. And
it's like third person. It's third person, but it's very close third person.
It is.
It's very intimate.
Exceptionally funny because it's a lot of like, all right, the dad's watching TV. We have to land exactly on his forehead, right on top of his big bulging vein, suck his blood, and get out of there before he slaps us.
Huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
know
also,
a lot of bloodsuckers,
also because it's Japanese, you could get into some perverted stuff too.
Oh,
they have like a teenage daughter that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, you know, she happens to be taking a bath, and Mr. Mosquito needs his blood.
She happened to have some big old titties.
Well, you know, as a man of culture, it's, all cultures are different. You know, they're the same. You know, they're all vowels. We have no choice but to stand.
True. And this only title could really only exist on the PS2, frankly. It was that era of these
PS2 was
dime a dozen titles that come out of nowhere.
Was only released in Japan. The first one was actually localized into English. I can't believe that game came out.
As Mr. Mr.
Second one, I think they're on a Hawaiian vacation. I want to say that was the premise.
Are you the same mosquitoes even though like they're on vacation in Hawaii?
Yes. He's Mr. Mosquito. He follows along the family. And there's like a little storyline with the family. It's a really bizarro, insane concept. Just the concept of, hey, I'm a mosquito, I'm going to suck some blood.
Is he a Zika carrier?
He's got Little West Nile, never hurt nobody.
Oh, God, yeah.
Jesus.
But
that actually reminds me of a similar title. There's a title called The Zombie versus Ambulance.
The hell is that?
It's a fucking... So what it is, it's a weird kind of survival horror title, kind of more like RE7. Actually, no, more RE1-ish. That you're playing an ambulance going around in a zombie apocalypse, picking up people, and the zombies.
So like Crazy Taxi?
The people. Yeah, it's like Crazy Taxi with zombies essentially, and people can get infected and turn inside the ambulance and kill the driver. And you continuously have to go back to baseline to get enough fuel to go out again.
Wow!
And it's like
it actually lights
so it's
up
like
and
Dead
says,
Rising,
like, great, like an arcade game. So it's a little Dead Rising. It's a little.
Dead Rising meets Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, a little Mad Max.
I remember
it's like they're the last bastion of saviors of society out here in their ambulance.
Yeah, and there's boss fights and shit. It's wild. I found out because of G4. What was the review show on G4? Xplay.
Oh, they reviewed.
They had this weird. Yeah, they had a weird video about this one. But
they reviewed just about everything. They had an Aquaman game that they were obsessed with, that they thought was the stupidest.
Was it that shit one that JonTron played a long time ago?
It was on the GameCube. A real video game that actually existed, where you play as Aquaman underwater. So you control real weird and it doesn't quite feel right because it's like one long underwater level.
Bingo.
It's just terrible. I've seen JonTron made a video about that years ago, and it was
the one the whole hacked off hand Aquaman rebranding of Aquaman.
So Jen, I know that you're a big time comic books fan. And in the 90s, you know, that big reboot with the JLA where they had Electric Superman and they had the Aquaman was the one who had his hand bitten off by piranhas and he had his hand replaced with a harpoon and he became this edgy badass with long hair.
Hand, why would piranhas just stop the hand?
Because he had his hand stuck into a tank of piranha.
The whole Aquaman?
Let me check this out. Aquaman loses his hands. Jesus Christ. And he just sticks a fucking rock into it.
Yeah, later he got a magical hand. It was a magic water hand. Yeah. A magic water hand. I am Aquaman.
People are really digging like the Aquaman movies, and I don't get it.
I tell you what I don't like about him. At no point,
Jason Momoa.
At no point in the movie do you hear him talk to fish and go. Boop, 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 boop. You'd have to have that sound effect from the old Aquaman cartoon.
I only saw bits and pieces when IHE did a video on it like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's if you like dumb big superhero crap, there's a lot of dumb big superhero crap in that one. If you want to see the third act of a movie where two big ass armies filled with like crabs and seahorse riders and all sorts of goofy bullshit are fighting each other, all these cartoon monsters, then that's the movie for you because that's the third act of that movie. And it just makes me think, well, where do they go? What's Aquaman 2 look like? Because there's nowhere to build from this. Like every movie now has to have that big third act. Even damn Alice in Wonderland. They did a remake of Alice in Wonderland. And in the third act of Alice in Wonderland, they have this big epic battle like that, which cheapens it because it's like every other movie has this same crap where it's a bunch of cartoon things fighting one another.
Cartoon things.
Well, they're the apex of the next Aquaman film is going to be Amber Heard beating the shit out of Johnny. Amber Heard's just
was the Hulk and Abomination, two giant cartoons fighting each other. It should have been two big dudes wrestling each other. That would have been so much better.
Oiled up.
Well, you know
I don't know about that. You didn't have to oil them up, but they could have been naked and painted green.
What are the only video games with superheroes I like was Marvel vs. Capcom. That was a good game.
Not Batman?
There's one that's even better than that, Jen, and it's a little weird.
I liked the Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man game. That was
There's
cool.
a weird one for PC that called Freedom Force. I think there's a second one, Freedom Force, where you time travel back to fight Nazis. It's called the Freedom Force. It's the fellers who made System Shock and BioShock and those games. It's those guys. They did this. It's very pastiche.
I thought it was like a DC thing.
No, it's a very pastiche of superheroes. So there's like fake Iron Man and a fake Captain America. I think he's called Minuteman. There's a ant guy. It's a very wacky, wacky video game. But it feels a little real-time strategy, like the way that you're controlling your guys. And you can absolutely destroy the shit out of a lot of buildings, which I like.
Collateral damage.
Yes. And it is.
just
weird.
superhero shit just gets so fucking old so fast.
Well, the thing about it is
Jen,
the version
And predictable. If it's if it's Batman, if it's Spider-Man, you fucking know who you're gonna fight. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it gets old.
The versions that they present in movies are not as good as the old comics. I argue this quite often. That the old comic books were great about long-term storytelling, which is...
Why can't it all just die?
Same thing with wrestling.
Except Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse was a good movie.
See, I didn't like that one.
It was a great movie, actually.
Didn't like
Not just
it.
a good movie. I thought it was a great movie.
hurt
I
me to
wasn't
watch.
expecting to like it.
Didn't like the animation.
I was not expecting to like it at all, and then I turned out loving it. Because I like Spider-Man. I like Spooderman, and he's Spooderman.
Spooderman is
If you want to talk
knows.
about one superhero that I actually really like, I've always fucked with Spider-Man.
Everybody
heavily.
knows Charlie's a big fan of Spider-Ham, and I didn't think their version of Spider-Ham was that good.
But it was good. I liked it.
Best
It felt like he was the 8th character on the call sheet, like he was barely there.
That's fair, but it was more teeing up for his own projects.
You didn't want it too in your face, because I feel like too much of him would have cheapened it.
I don't know.
You don't want the gimmick to overstay welcome.
Less is more. Less is more.
It's the comic relief and all the factors.
Exactly. And when you have too much of that, when it turns into fucking Frozen and it's just Olaf every 2 seconds, it gets old. It gets really, really old.
True. But Jen, what's a weird video game that you know about? What's the one that sticks out?
You know what? Like I said, I'm a big fan of Puppet Combo. Big fan. Night Shift. That's my shit right there. You're mopping, you're sweeping, and then all of a sudden a fucking van pulls up and asks you if you're alone. If you're alone at this little gas station in the middle of the night.
You ever
you get that? Yeah.
And their faces and their heads are all fucked up. I mean, it's low budget, it's cheap, it's VHS, and I'm fucking for it. Let's go. Puppet Combo needs more games. That's actually my favorite. But growing up, something that you play constantly, I'd probably say starting it's more like junior high, because we're speaking of PS2, Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yes. That is a really fucking weird game because it's that fucking good.
It's a phenomenal game. When you weren't
to...
allowed to play GTA, if you're 11, 12 and you weren't allowed to play GTA yet, you were allowed to play Hit and Run. It's basically the same shit, but it's
can't
the
relate to that.
Because I feel cannot lose.
It's sort of game on for Charlie and Charles' world. I'm a little older. So for me, the Simpsons Hit and Run being a decent video game was shocking. That was the shocking part. Because I have played some real weird and bad Simpsons games. Bart's Nightmare is abysmal.
Abysmal. I've played Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Also
that
a stinker.
One.
Also a stinker.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as the original NES TMNT.
Oh my god! The original TMNT on Nintendo is so much better.
The original TMNT.
Jen, are you trying to start a podcast fight? Are we going to start an on-air drama? Oh
music
my
is
god.
great.
Listen,
but that
Jen,
fucking game is shit.
The game is amazing. That is a classic game. It is an all-time classic.
Arcade version. Yes. Let's fucking go.
Once you get into a third and fourth level, where it's this big maze, it is so difficult to try to describe to somebody that has never gotten that far, to try to figure out where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do.
It's just ass.
And trying to figure out to go find the missiles and then blow up the right thing.
What came first? Did the arcade game come first, or did the NES version come first?
I want to say the arcade game was 88. I want to say. Might have been 89.
We'll check.
Okay,
I'll check
so why didn't they just make the original NES game like the arcade game? Why didn't they just do that?
They were unable to. I know the arcade game was what the second one was based off of.
Yeah.
Your Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time was on Super Nintendo, and that was an adaptation of the second arcade game.
Yeah.
The Ninja Turtle arcade game was actually the second one. That's the second one on Nintendo. They added a couple. The ice level. I think there was another one that they added. I could be wrong. But it's okay.
I mean, they should have had just gone with the whole Double Dragon shtick from the very
beginning. They came out
beginning.
the same year.
Yeah.
The arcade machine and the NES game came out the same year, 1989.
Then why didn't they just do it actually like the arcade? Like, that doesn't make, like, why did they turn out such absolute shit?
I'm guessing what happened in this case, because the NES obviously doesn't have the same power. I'm guessing it came down to a time crunch because they wanted to get shit out. Because didn't the movie come out in 98 as well?
So here's the thing about Ninja Turtles is that they were able to turn around a lot of that crap so fast because it started off, they had that one comic book, and then they come up with there's a tabletop role-playing game company that licensed their stuff for a game. And I believe the pewter miniatures came first. They made, I know Jen's way into this. I can tell she's getting real excited. They have these things for tabletop games called miniatures. And they made ones out of pewter. And whenever I mention pewter, it's always a fun thing to say. Like these little heavy things. And they were one of their hottest sellers. And from that, they were able to parlay into, all right, we've got this stuff. We know who these characters are. Let's go sell this as a cartoon show. And so 87, they got the cartoon, and I think 90 was the movie. So they were able to turn everything around real fast. Because you look at Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers gets red hot in what, 86, 87? Movie doesn't come out until like 95, 96.
You know what I just thought of? Why don't they just make movies like that anymore? Why don't we just have
budgets,
like
because they flop so hard, they must kill companies.
Well, the Ninja Turtles movie, they did not flop. They were
Ninja
huge.
Turtles absolutely
Super Mario.
put New Line on the map.
Mario Brothers, the Mario Brothers 93 flopped.
Was it 93?
Yeah, that's my
That still felt like
I think it was 93.
that still feels like 5 years too late. Like if they'd have come out with that movie in 89, if they could have took...
you had John fucking Leguizamo as Luigi.
I thought he was fun. I thought he was a fun part of the movie. The problem with that movie wasn't Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
No,
the problem with that movie
Bob
was
Hoskins
the couple.
is never a problem.
The couple who made that motion picture. You want to talk about a weird story? All right, let's get into some real weird sickos here. They desperately wanted to make a movie, the Blade Runner. They wanted to make their own Blade Runner, so they got the production designer and set designer from that stuff, and they wanted to make this cyberpunk futuristic thing. But the movie they were supposed to be making was Mario Brothers. And so if you look at those sets, the sets are incredible. There's so much going on there. There's so much like little details and world building. Like you see that fungus everywhere.
But it wasn't Mario Brothers.
Oh no.
It fucking wasn't.
And it doesn't feel like King Koopa's even really the bad guy so much as that other gal that they added in.
And he was so ugly. Like, what the fuck with the Koopa, dude? Like,
yeah.
It was awful.
You're telling me they couldn't have got that gal from Kingpin? They couldn't have got a better looking gal?
It's just when people go to see, like, you know, I feel like nowadays they're kind of starting to get that right. When you go to see a movie, you know what you're going for. You know what you want to see. I think that's why nobody has fucked with Legend of Zelda yet. Because I think they know
they have tried
to actually make a Legend of Zelda movie. Like that
fantasy
has to be so. It has to be the most on point thing ever.
Yeah,
or you
they
can't
know
do
what
it.
they've done to previous
fantasy
movies.
has done
Nintendo
so poorly
too close to us
at the box office. So there's not. So before Lord of the Rings, it was such a huge gamble that they were going to do the Lord of the Rings and do it all at once, shooting all three movies. That they thought, well, this is not going to work. There's no way this is going to work.
I'll tell you, I didn't hate this. I didn't hate the Sonic movie.
Yeah, that was fine.
I didn't hate it.
I feel like the Sonic movie, again,
totally
they do the thing where it's like, well, what if he comes to the real world? And I don't want to see that. I want to see Sonic in...
Well, they did the smart thing. They redid the character.
I want to see Sonic in Sonic World doing Sonic stuff with Robotnik chasing him. I want to see the Uncle
Sonic,
Chuck. I want to see
they actually did,
Animal Buddies.
They were self-aware and they did the Sonic meme. Tails is going to be in the next one because if you watched
Tails and Knuckles,
if you waited till if you waited until
it's
like
at the end of the movie
after the credits, they showed the first Tails.
Here's how you watch a kid's
They actually showed Tails, and I lost my shit.
Here's how you watch a kid's movie, guys. You watch the first 5 minutes. And you're like, and you get real excited. You go, "Oh man, guys, we're watching the best movie here. This is so good." And then you quietly get up and you walk out of the room for 2 hours, and then you come back in the last 5 minutes and you go, "Oh man, what a great movie! This was
Why
incredible.
do you gotta do that,
So I've
Charles?
only seen the first 5 minutes of this. I don't even know if it's the second or third SpongeBob movie at this point. The first 5 minutes and the last
only
5 minutes.
Only the first one is good. Only the first SpongeBob
It looked
movie
real
is like
dumb. They were
beautiful.
superheroes. I don't know how they got
No,
into
that
being
was a piece of
superheroes.
shit. That movie was an absolute total piece of shit. Look at, we're CGI. That was the very first time they
we're
put SpongeBob in CGI.
Patrick. Look at us.
Look at.
Oh, I don't know about this SpongeBob. I smoke grass.
It was bad. But the first movie with the original animation, the buddy road comedy, it's great.
I think I watched some of that one. I don't know.
It's great. You're missing out.
I feel like I'm too old for SpongeBob.
Nobody is too old for SpongeBob. I literally bought SpongeBob makeup today. Like
I'm
legit.
more of a Ren and Stimpy kind of fella.
Makeup.
A man of culture.
You're fucking boomer cunt. But I will say, Jen, there is some hope when it comes to coming back to like kind of a nice classic style. But the TMNT game, they're actually bringing back a new one in the same style as the original arcade.
Yeah, I'm real curious to see what those fellers do because they're trying to add combos and make it a little more modern. So I don't know how that's going to
You can't modernize it too much.
Well, it's a beat 'em up. It's a beat 'em up as much as
right.
You could get
you could show footage. You can show footage and make it look like it's that.
It's like turning Megaman into like a RPG. Like, don't fuck
Once
with
you start adding in the River City Ransom
that.
stuff, it becomes a different thing.
I don't like it when people fuck with Megaman.
Megaman. But I will say they actually kind of did do kind of the offshoot with that Megaman X shit where it was like a 3D.
Well, what about your Megaman
EXPs? You know what made me mad?
EXP, whatever.
What made me really, really angry? I was really excited for it. Was the new Yoshi's Island for Switch that came out last year, or the year before?
Yarn.
It was 2 years
ago.
What a fucking letdown!
You didn't
what
like the Yarn Yoshi?
Absolute joke! What an absolute joke! Listen.
Well, Jen, that's a little
Yoshi's
kid's
Island.
Game.
SNES Yoshi's Island was the very first game I ever finished as a young child.
Yeah, when you go to that other planet, you got to fight that guy.
That was like literally like that game was just the music. It was aesthetically pleasing. It handled fantastic. It had a great story.
Yeah, I recall
and you felt accomplished, finishing it.
I recall
it
as a late release for the Super Nintendo, but was quite the showpiece and made me think, man, I wish that there was more games going to come out on this thing, but everybody's just done with it. I think there might have been that second Street Fighter come out late. It might have been after that, but I feel like that was 96,
after
97.
how many years of not having a Yoshi's Island game? We're gonna get one on Switch, and it just was what the fuck is this?
Well, you look at Yoshi's Island, the second one for the N64, and that should have told you exactly where that series was going.
Yeah, but it'd been so long. I had just figured that maybe they were gonna.
Jen, here's the thing about being a video game fan.
Full circle.
Here's the thing about being a video game fan. Don't have hope.
God,
get rid of hope.
Do
not feel joy. Do not come.
It had been so long. It had been so long. You would figured because, sometimes Nintendo is actually really good at like learning from their mistakes. Like, we really fucked up here, so we need to fix it for this one.
Yeah.
I thought like after 20 years that they were actually, like they learned something. No.
I should know. The title of the game is called Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah, so I tried to explain to somebody this about Metroid.
Bad.
They wanted. They were going off about why does Nintendo have a new Metroid?
Don't even get me started on Metroid.
Well, Metroids don't sell as well. And I didn't like Metroid Prime. I didn't think those were that good. I like the gimmick
Metroid
I like the gimmick of shooting stuff and having it blast
Metroid
on
Prime
your.
was fucking good.
I disagree.
I'm fucking defending that one.
No, those games don't even wipe the taint of. They don't even get near Super Metroid.
Exactly. You know what? I agree. I agree. God damn it, Charles and I agree for once. Yes. No, I agree. 100%.
No. All right, so I'm getting this.
Super Metroid is one of the most perfect games.
Because you're going around scanning everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm not in disagreement of fucking Super Metroid, but I'm saying you can't pretend if let's say the best game comes after and the next one after that, it's pretty good. It doesn't mean it's shit. It means it's good, but it's not living up. I'm just saying,
your Majora's Mask to your Ocarina of Time.
Yes, absolutely. They're still great games.
But your Resident Evil 3 to your Resident Evil 2.
I feel like this is going to be the Mega Man X argument.
Some
I don't give
people
a shit
like
about
some
Mega Man
people
X,
like Mega Man
but I
X
understand
quite
why
a
people
bit,
like it.
and I thought it was pretty good too.
I
In
did
its day,
too.
the Mega Man X games, because honestly, they're just
But
Mega
is
Man.
it? But is
They're
it
Mega
better
Man,
than
but they're instead
is
of being
it better than Mega Man 2? No,
I
no,
don't
it
know
is
about
not.
that. Yeah, like there's
It
at
will
no
not-
point
I
That's
don't-
no fucking intro
No
music, by
Mega
the way,
Man
Jen.
game will be better than Mega Man 2.
I can tell you this:
I
Mega
checked
Man
out
3
the
definitely
version
not as
of
good
your
as
intro
Mega
that you
Man
did.
2.
Mega Man 3 is a piece of flaming shit.
No, Mega Man
I
4
like
is a
Mega
piece
Man
of
10.
they're pretty much a piece of shit.
No,
Mega Man 5 and 6
both
are
3
okay.
and 4 are equal. 6 is great. 6
Yeah,
is
6
great.
has a lot going on. You're a
I'll
big
take
Yamato
6.
Man fan
Yes.
and have no
6 is
choice but
great.
to stay in Yamato Man.
5 is rather forgettable.
Did you ever play the arcade game, Jen? The Mega Man, there's 2 of them, Power Battle.
There's a fucking arcade
Of Mega Man, yeah. It's a weird, it's a very
It's
interesting fighting game. It's so you can
Oh,
pick,
Mega Man the Power Battle.
So.
yeah, Mega
I
Man
don't
Power
think
Battle.
so.
You pick so you have Proto Man, Mega Man, Duo from Mega Man 8, that big guy with the fist. I guess they thought that guy was going to be like a Mega Man buddy, and I haven't seen him in. I think he might have been in Mega Man 10 as like for 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Let me search this up.
But you had Proto Man, and then you had Bass in there, the other guy, the black Mega Man.
I don't think I ever. I don't think I've ever played it. No.
Oh, Jen, you need to spend more time with Mame. Oh, Mame.
let me suggest a weirder fighting game that includes some weird other things. It was called the Fighters Megamix,
Oh,
which actually
that's
starred
excellent.
the Daytona fucking Hornet as a fighter.
Yeah.
That's right, a fucking car. It was a fucking
I do
car.
believe that has Sonic the Hedgehog in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Because it's
a
all
Sega
those
thing.
Sega franchises all mixed together in a single game, including the friggin' car.
Have you
Absolutely.
ever seen those
Yeah.
really dirty Sega ads from like the 80s and the 90s?
They went pretty hard with the Saturn.
Yeah,
See, their
the
80s ads,
Nintendo
they were
sex
a
shit.
little nicer because they were doing the Sega Master System then. So I think Genesis come out in 90. So
Bro,
Sega
they
really
were
had
dirty.
like a good 6 years of really doing it, and then once they messed up with the Saturn. Do you know the story of the Saturn, Jen?
Yeah.
It
Like
is
Guitar
it is
Central,
such a bungle that they would go to, and I want to say it may have even been the first E3. It was after they had, so CES used to be this big floor show where they would show off new computer electronics, consumer electronics, and so they would have all the big companies there to show off their new products. So they finally moved video games to their own thing. And the first year there, Sega gets up and says, yeah, instead of coming out next year, Sega Saturn will be available in stores today. And everybody was like, wait, what? Like you're supposed to like
Fucking
tell
how?
us this. I want to say it was
Yeah.
KB Toys that they had shut out. And so KB stopped selling Sega products because they didn't know. So they just done. The Saturn was such a bungle job because that creates the problem of, all right, you've got 4 launch games, and then 7 or 8 months from now you'll get another game. Like what a bad idea. Like you've got to figure out a
They're
way.
in better shape than PlayStation right now.
Yeah, PlayStation's in
It was a dumb
the
shit
worst
idea.
Way better
space.
shape.
Tanked it. Yeah, because he said he came up on stage and he said it was like $3.99.
Yeah. And then the next
And
day,
then
I think it might have even been the same day. PlayStation guy gets up and just walks up and says, "Yeah, $2.99."
$2.99 and walks off stage.
And walks off stage.
That's all he
That's
does.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he flexed it. He literally does the single flex, $2.99,
Yeah.
and he fucks off stage. But that's a true price of arrogance when it comes to launching consoles. They think it's like this big fucking brunt thing.
Well, if you
But
pay
when
attention
you destroy
to
the
the
line-
trends, you'll notice
Trend.
whoever the dominant guy is, they get real cocky. They're so excited, like we're the dominant guy and we can do no wrong. Look at how good we are and how great our stuff is. And then they just bungle it. They bungle it in such a way that just knocks them back a peg, and so they have to just sort of like all right, we got to figure out what we're doing here. Because if you look at who the losers are, and then look at what they do next, like you look at GameCube to Wii, it's like all right, they figured out what to do, how to appeal to people. But you look at something like PS2 to PS3. It's like, of course we got this figured out. We're the best in the world. We're PlayStation.
PP3.
Yeah, and then you look at Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, where we know what we're doing. We're Xbox. The Xbox One it will do everything, and it has this great name. Isn't this a great name, guys?
It's just a Halo machine. It's just a fucking Halo machine.
I think the only thing they've done worse than the Xbox One is whatever the hell they called the new one. I don't know if I could tell you what the new one is because they put out
Series X.
See, I was going to say they come out with something that sounded real similar, Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
That did come out, but Series X is out.
And it's confused everybody. When I can't tell you what the new one is, that's a problem. I should be able to easily look at it and go, oh yeah, of course I can tell you what that is, Jen. You need an Xbox S, Series X.
No,
if I can't say it, if I can't think of it.
This is just how they advertise any Xbox. True. Like, hey guys, we got Master Chief. Nobody else has Master Chief. You want you got come over here. Yeah. Like if
I
there's
never really
no Master
cared for the
Chief,
Halo games personally. I thought they were
good.
Everybody blew smoke up my ass like, oh man, these things have the greatest story, Charles. You ain't gonna believe it.
It's
and then it's like, well,
the only good thing about Xbox.
I was like, this isn't really like it's okay multiplayer, but it's like a pretty by the bones, shooter. Like, you know, they have these big combat arenas sometimes.
I prefer it multiplayer.
But when they have the levels that are just go on forever and everything looks the same, it's like, well, who gives a shit? When it's the guys that won't die and you just have to keep fighting them, I'm like, who cares about this? They took a cool concept and made it lame and just made it into an annoying piece of shit here.
You're such a hater, Charles.
Oh, listen, I'll put on my hater hat. I'll put on my hater hat, wizard robe, my hating boots. I even got on my hating panties.
Exactly. But you know what you can't hate? You can't hate some of the fucking weirder titles out there like LSD. I want to talk about LSD. LSD is one of my favorite things of all time. Not the fucking drug, I should fucking
concept,
say.
Jen. You're going to love this.
It's okay.
It's one game. It's a PS1 game based on LSD trips and dreams. Yeah. So that's, I want to say that's what it was called, was the dream...
Lucid...
Yeah, Lucid. What was it called?
I've heard of it.
Well, it continuously throw up new terminology for what LSD stood, because it's called LSD Dream Emulator.
Dream Emulator, yeah. That's a cool name. Yeah. So it's about so it goes in like 30 second to a minute chunks of you exploring these different spaces, trying to figure out what's going on. And you'll start to see patterns. You'll start to see like weird characters and shapes that reoccur, almost like a dream or a nightmare. And the further you go, the more bad trips that you'll go on, or it starts to get really creepy and weird. It's a fascinating game because it has a calendar that goes through.
Yeah. Because at the end of each stream, you get to see like kind of a 4x4, so a grid system, and it shows you uppers, downers, staticers, and dynamic, and where your fucking dream's set to. Because you can walk into anything and it'll activate into another thing. Because it's like a continuously flowing event. And a lot of people have obviously found this out, LSD, via Let's Plays. I think a lot of us know that. But it's just psychedelic in the sense of just you go into this really place that doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's like Japanese villages and there's bridges, and it's kind of chaotic, but you kind of allow yourself to kind of like, oh, let's try for this stream over here. Let's see what's up there. And then you kind of set yourself on a different adventure each time. It's definitely not a quote-unquote game. It's more of an experience, I would say.
It's more of an interactive toy. There's a lot of that kind of experimental games where it's not really... There was one where you just sort of walk around on the island and you see like weird things. Proteus, I think was the name of it. Ooh. Something like that.
Yeah.
Where you just walk through islands and try to explore, and there's not really... It's very chill. Kind of gave me similar vibes where you're just walking around looking at things. Like there's room in the world for that kind of game. Like not everything needs to be the most focused and cool thing in the world. But I'll tell you what.
Not everything has to have a.
I'll tell you something cool, Jen. I got one for you. Thinking of Proteus. I know you're a huge Gradius fan. So there's games
the parody,
the Parodius, the parody, which are parodies of Gradius. And the one I wanted to bring up is Sexy Parodius, which was, I think that's the third or fourth one. There's a bunch of them. It was on the Sega Saturn. Yeah. And you fight, every boss in that game is an absurd anime lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You're a bunny girl riding
it's not just a bunny girl. You have a ton of characters to pick from. So you could be like a guy a stick man on a paper plane, be an octopus, baby. What else was there? There's the Gradius ship, the Twin Bee ships, because Twin Bee's another Konami franchise. You could be, I want to say the Kid Dracula from oh man, I think it's called Kid Dracula. It's a spoof of Castlevania games. I want to say they might have localized that for one of the Castlevania collections.
Yep.
It's called Dracula-kun. That's the character that apparently.
That's it.
Yeah, Jen. Let's start using our Japanese honorifics. So it's So Tom Kuhn loves Kid Dracula. He's one of the guys. There's all these weird characters, and each one has their own loadouts of like different crazy weapons and things. And the game is the most absurd, insane shit in the world. And they'll play. One of them just has straight up, music, like licensed music, and it sounds so insane to hear what sounds like Southern rock as you're playing through a carnival level with all this bright colors and crazy shit, and you're just shooting everything as octopuses are running from you.
True. You know what? Actually, let's remind me of a fucking title and like LSD. Hypnospace Cowboy? Fuck. Hypnospace. Let me
Hypnospace Cowboy.
Yes, Hypnospace Outlaw, which it's I think almost very similar to LSD, but kind of filled in with a gameplay element.
Yeah, it's a little more recent.
Yeah, it came in 2019, but it's essentially you play kind of this admin on this service called Hypnospace, which you go to sleep with this band on your head and you access like a dream like 90s website world.
Yeah, I played
and
a
you
bit
go
of
through
this. This was on the Xbox Game Pass.
It still is, yeah. I actually recommended it to my housemate today.
It's real weird. I played about an hour of it because it's so. It has that presentation of like 90s web interface, so it's a 90s computer interface. There's a little bit of that. It's
the 90s games, the educational games.
It's a lot of like
I love it.
Bonsai Buddy, that kind of crap.
Oh yeah,
if you're into weird and Wang kind of stuff, like you'll love this.
And it genuinely has a great story, and there's actually a part at the end that actually kind of hit me really hard because it goes throughout the 90s into the 2000s, and you get to see this kind of event, and if you want to see something that's lovingly created, go and play Hypnospace Outlaw.
I could see him going. I tell you how I would do it if I was doing a story around a big popular web game. Is I would have it be where in the third act it's like, all right, now it's not as popular as it was.
Yeah,
true. And actually, you're kind of correct in regards
like
to
if you'll notice, like there's a lot of like MMOs out there that are just done that had these huge communities. Like the superhero one had a huge community. Matrix Online, Warhammer Fantasy, all these big MMOs. Everybody wanted to be Warcraft and like, oh man, we're gonna beat World of Warcraft. And it's like, dude, you ain't even gonna nip the heels of World of Warcraft. What are y'all doing?
Yeah,
true.
Why would you chase? Every few years you'll see these guys. They want to chase the trend. They're like, oh man, this Dota 2. This is the Defense of the Ancients. This is the hot thing, guys. So now let's put every game that we have, let's make that game. So they had one themed around DC Comics. They had there was I think the Blizzard one I think still might be going. They had I want to say there's a Lord of the Rings one. They've had just
LOL are on.
Yeah, there's a ton of those games where it's just like, you guys, what are you doing? They did the same thing with Battle Royales where it's like, all right, Fortnite got real big off of PUBG, and we're going to make our own, guys. Take a look at this.
PUBG was so good. You know what? PUBG was so good. It was simplistic.
The most fun I've ever had in an online game.
Fortnite came out, and it was like, and I knew the second it came out, I was like, this is going to get huge. The fucking 10-year-olds are going to get a hold of this, and it's going to get out of control.
The most fun I've ever had in an online space, Jen, was riding on the airplane in PUBG with, what is it, 100 people, open mic, and anybody can say anything. And nobody knows who's saying anything, so you could say the craziest shit. Yes, and I would always say, just really absurd, wild things. I believe I still have some tape of that somewhere.
Before you even get on, everybody's just beating the shit out of each other while you're waiting. Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah, smacking the shit out of them.
That was so great. Like
you would see guys crawling along on the floor, and they would start yelling. They would start saying, "We're snakes. We're snakes."
It was it was the best.
Oh god, that was funny.
Time. It was like I got into it because it was,
Did you ever get a chicken dinner?
I just really miss like I miss when COD was good.
Did you ever get that chicken dinner?
Yeah.
I miss when COD was good. So like PUBG
so the best of COD was really a riff on,
because I never liked Rainbow Six.
Yeah, Rainbow Six is a little twitchy, and if you make a mistake, it's a little.
I never
it's
got
a little
into
more
it.
Counter-Strike, and I don't like
I just
modern
don't like, and I don't like CS. Yeah,
Doesn't
I don't
feel
like CS:GO
good.
either.
Like old Counter-Strike is so much better. What is it? 1.5.
I like one Counter-Strike. I like it.
The one that they added the big riot
when
shield.
PUBG
That was the one
came
I
out,
liked.
it was like I fuck with this heavily because it wasn't like gay ass CS:GO. It wasn't any of that shit. It was just like, this is what I'm talking about. And then it got absolutely fucking, and then it got stomped the shit out of by fucking Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I hate the way
they got a number one victory royale. Just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend just got down. I revived him. Now we're headed
southbound. Now we're on to Pleasant Park Street. Look at the map. Go to the mark. I fucking hate that goddamn song. The goddamn the Wombos. What are the fuck?
Yeah, Wombos are a lot of fun. I've seen so many Wombos that make me laugh so hard. In a way that like they'll take somebody's fat stomach. They'll take somebody's fat stomach and make his fat stomach talk. That's very funny. Or they'll take
Nikocado Avocado's uncircumcised penis with teeth. That was it for me. I was done.
I'm not showing that image. I'm just not showing that image.
That's made out of human bones. Wayne had that one singing different songs like "Don't You Wish You Had a Girlfriend That Was Hot Like Me."
Yeah,
that is some of the funniest shit.
I literally think everybody like capped on Wombos like after the second day.
Yeah, but it was
Explain
very
what
funny.
Wombos are.
Like
Explain
the
what Wombos
deepfakes
are.
Thing was very
if you've
funny.
never seen a Wombo, you could take like a picture, take a picture of Epstein,
Yeah.
and you can make him sing "Don't Ya" by Pussycat Dolls.
Well, you could have him sing stuff like the Oingo Boingo
and it's kind of
song.
like dancing around a little bit, and it's just from one still picture.
Feel so young.
Yeah, that was going around too.
Yeah,
and everybody, the app came out. Somebody posted it to Twitter, and 3 days later, everything had already fucking been done. But just a couple of weeks ago, they were kind of making a little bit of a comeback, but like worse.
That's the problem with everything. Stuff is cool, and then everybody gets in on it, and it's like, well, this ain't cool now.
It's a dead meme.
Yeah, like in my world of Dungeons and Dragons, there's a bit of that. Where it's like, oh, now that everybody loves it, now it's not our thing anymore. And it's like, well, no, it's still your thing, man. It's just everybody's into it now.
Yeah, fucking all that whining shit on fucking Twitter was so pathetic. He's like,
everybody whines about everything, Tom.
Shit.
That's what Twitter's for.
I know. I understand that. But the tabletop shit makes no fucking sense. Because it's a game you play in groups. You don't play with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You don't like, oh, I'm going to play it with the fucking world. No, you just play it with your friends and you make shit up. Fuck's sake. Have somebody else to fucking complain about on goddamn Twitter.
I just love throwing gas on fires. That's my thing. I like seeing people mad.
You bait every side, and I do enjoy it, honestly.
Well, that's because I'm on everybody's side. I'm on no side. I have no side. I have no horse in the fight.
If you have no side, you can't lose.
The only side that I'm on is the side of making people laugh.
I hate, like, there are some people that, like, if they're getting into a Twitter spat, they'll DM me and be like, yo, can you, like, I'll step in and be, what's up? You know, there's very few people that I will do that for.
See, when I see people that I know have
But if you ask me to make a specific tweet where I'm basically subtweeting somebody like a pussy, you can fuck off. Like, if I'm going to tweet somebody, I'll tweet at somebody. I don't give a fuck.
People that I know if I'm friends with both guys and I see them both have an argument, I'll get in both guys' DMs and be like, listen, man, you got to milk this for all it's worth. Start selling t-shirts, merch this up. You got to come up with a rap song about this other guy. Like, you guys got to really like make this into something. You guys got to like keep kayfabe alive.
I just go in the replies and I'll go, my dads are fighting.
Yeah.
I don't want
we could be in a group chat together and laughing about it and be like, everybody thinks we hate each other. Like, we got into a fight and everything, and people think that it's real, that this matters.
Gotta work them up.
I've only been, I don't want to say it was a fight. It was basically
spat.
I never call out, like, I don't have time for Twitter drama. I just want to post shit and do what I'm gonna do. But sometimes, like, months ago, I just saw something that came across my timeline and I just had to say something, and it turned into a thing. I mean, they eventually deleted all of their tweets, but I kept all of mine up, and they actually asked me, hey, would you take those down? Like, I'm like, what, all those replies? No. I was like, you gonna learn. You gonna learn. And then they unfollowed me, and it was so funny because it was just shitty behavior.
I don't like people
sometimes
unfollow me. Everybody should be following me. When I see the number go down, I'm like, oh man, where'd I lose somebody? There needs to be an exit poll.
No, you know what I don't like? I don't like when you're mutuals with somebody and you have a lot of the same mutuals and then they unfollow you. But you know what? Motherfucker, be a pussy and have the fucking courage to do the fucking soft block. But you want me to still follow you, right? Okay, fuck off.
Yeah,
don't be a pussy.
Once you hit a certain size on Twitter, it becomes so hard to try to parse out what's going on. Like looking at the notifications is like I might as well look into hell itself. Because as I'm trying to read it, it starts to move.
You have to mute. You have to mute a lot of notifications.
So
like I'm muting this thread now.
What I do now is
I
have everything. I have the notification, the settings on there to only tell me when people that I follow are replying to stuff. And then I'll just go back through threads and just read through comments and look and see what people are saying. Because there's a lot of times people are funny as shit. People can people can throw a tag on something that takes what I said, which was, like, this is pretty funny. I've got the ball in the air. And they'll slam it down into an alley-oop that is some of the funniest shit. And just make me giggle through my whole eyeballs. Like, you ever have that giggle? They giggle through the eyeballs, the snicker.
There was somebody that did that. Like, he would always come up in my replies, and he was clutch as fuck. Like, funny as shit. And then it was like, you know what? I'm going to follow you back, man. Like, you doing your thing, man. And then he turns around and he stops replying after I follow him. I was like,
no.
Motherfucker, I fucking followed you because you're funny. And then you stop. You get the follow and you stop. Like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm pretty sure you probably have this problem a lot, Charles.
Oh God, I have so many problems.
Your beautiful blue eyes. I know that this is a problem. I followed somebody back a couple of weeks ago who's funny. They remember replies are funny. We have some mutuals. I'll follow you back. Gets right into my DMs and starts getting weird as shit. I was like, it's been 30 seconds since the follow back, my dude. Just weirdest. And then it's like he said something weird to me and I didn't respond. And then like 5 minutes later, like he DMs again and goes, please answer the goddamn question, ma'am. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, what is this weird shit? So when you're a girl, you take a gamble by doing the follow back. The follow back is a huge gamble
whenever I get into that territory with somebody, like especially if it's somebody that I know does stuff online, there's always that DM of like, hey, you want to play our fantasy game with us? Like that's the DM I always send to people. Like, hey, you ever play any stupid fantasy game?
I got one today. Like, I don't know this person. We have mutuals. I followed back. Saying, hey, I'm gonna like, hey, do you want to like come meet up? And I'm like, I don't know you.
Whoa.
I can't tell you like how many times that's happened.
Or a guy,
it's a fella. It's like it's a guy. It's like, listen, if I don't know you, I'm not gonna go meet up with you. It's not gonna happen. I don't give a fuck how many mutuals we have. If I don't know you, we ain't meeting up. And
so you excited for VidCon?
Yes and no.
Just strap a truck out to your body.
I'm excited,
I don't
but
want to go.
not.
Like, it's so far away.
I'm not going.
I'm
not going to the actual convention. I'm not purchasing an actual VidCon ticket.
Yeah, everybody tells me that they're not doing that. I'm like, well, why are you guys using VidCon as an excuse to do this?
That's just what they do.
Why can't everybody just get together?
That's what we're doing.
Like, why couldn't you get together next month?
There's a couple of houses put together, so I have to go make my rounds because I don't have to book
at the
anywhere.
House. You're gonna go to the roundhouse.
But I'm not.
Well, you can justify if you're going to an event.
I did have people again that I barely know that are just like, do you want to do an Airbnb? And not like fellow YouTubers that I talked to. It was, do you want to get an Airbnb? I was like, I don't know you. I'm not gonna go stay with you. Like
if I was gonna go stay with somebody, I'd want it to be guys
as they think.
I'd want it to be guys that I know are respectable, cool guys. Like Glink and Slush. Like if I was gonna, if you said to me,
I would
all right,
stay with Slush in a heartbeat.
Completely
for sure.
cold.
Let's fucking go.
Charles, you got to go spend a night in a hotel, and you're gonna rock paper scissors to see who gets the couch, the bed, or the floor. Right. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go. Those are my two guys that I would pick because I know they're tight.
Do you know what they're doing? I'm gonna out them. I don't give a shit. Do you know what they're doing at the Slush, Glink, Oki, Kino house?
What are they up
fucking
to?
each other.
They're doing a no deodorant. Nobody brings deodorant.
Boys.
You fucking kidding me?
And I was like, I'm not coming to
Jesus.
visit. Fuck off. Like, that's disgusting. Why? So I'm going to bring them all like some like girl deodorant so they could just like.
I always use girl
I don't know
deodorant.
why they'll want.
You wanna
I don't
talk
know
about-
why they want to do
You
that.
want to talk about a
Girl
weird
deodorant's
guy?
so
I
cool.
always use the girl deodorant. It's so much better than the guys. So
It
much
is.
better than the guys.
What
'Cause the
what
one-
brand do you use? What
I like
brand do
the
you
Dove,
use?
the
I
one
use
that's like baby powder.
I use Dove too. The spray.
It's so
I use the
silky
spray.
smooth.
I get the little
You know,
tiny tins.
They
little
used to
tins.
say that it was strong enough for a man, but gentle enough for a woman. I go, no, it's
It
gentle
is,
enough
baby.
for a man. If it's strong enough for a man, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. It's strong enough for a man.
What
Yeah,
scent? What scent do you use?
Oh, just the
I use
plain,
apple.
plain talcum powder. I don't need to
Aw,
smell
you
like
need to use the
apples.
apple
Soft
flavor.
cunt.
You think of
Flavor.
that? You think that would get me over with everybody I meet? They're like, "Oh, Charles, you smell like apples." And that's nice.
It's very pleasant. I've gotten compliments on the
See,
apple.
I'm
I
old,
think you
so I
should
have
do it
Michael
too.
Jordan
Like
cologne
people
that
are,
I put on.
if I'm not wearing any perfume or anything, it's like, oh, you smell very nice. It's like, thanks, it's my deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get these little weird, like these little metal spray ones, and it's really nice
You
because
get the little tiddlies.
little tiddlies. No, it's a little one that just it adds the top of it, and it smells so much nicer because like the fucking one I have in my house at the moment is wasabi in clean sheets. Like what the fuck is
See,
that?
I do the move. I'll put
That is
on
like-
the
that- that's a
deodorant.
main- by the way, that's a
disgusting.
main
Who wants
spray.
to
That is
smell
a
like
main spray.
wasabi?
I'll put on the deodorant.
Yeah.
I'll take the ones in the stick, put that on. That's on me. And then over the clothes, I'll take the spray one. Put the spray one under the arms, hit, around the neck.
Same.
Problem areas will hit around.
There's one called Impulse Festival, and it smells so fucking nice. It's called like perfume in a can, but it's literally a deodorant. But you
Why
spray
do
it on
they
the
name them
it's the top
such
there.
stupid shit? Like,
It's
that's
so-
such a
such stupid
fucking
shit.
dumb name. Like,
Yeah, it smells so much nicer than fucking wasabi and clean sheets. 'Cause that sounds like some fucking weird stunt and shit.
Mhm.
But to go back on, let's Hail Mary this back into video games before the end.
All right.
Full motion video games. How can we get from Twitter DMs to full motion video games?
Well, I had a famous Twitter thread with a certain character that was supposed to be making a FMV game, and they decided that they didn't want to communicate on their Kickstarter with all their backers, and they had announced that they were working on a new game. So I just asked, like, "Hey, when's that FMV game coming out?" And they for whatever reason decided to reply to me, explaining that they had spent all the money and that it wasn't coming out. And I just sent them back. I just happened to have, and it wasn't even the right one. It was the Pikachu from the N64 game making that face. So it looked real weird. Just happened to have that on the phone ready to go. And just within 2 minutes, that interaction was like, oh my God, you're not supposed to reply to Charles. Never reply to Charles. Because he asked the weirdest, worst questions. One day, Tim Pool's going to reply to some crazy thing I put in his DMs. And it's just going to be like, oh my God, what have you done, Tim?
I've
What have
been
you done?
trying to get OJ to reply to my DMs for like a year. Never going to happen.
There's
yeah,
so many
you're right.
weird people that just, and I like to be silly, like getting into people's replies, and especially if I think that somebody has, that can take a joke or be fun, it's like, oh, this is open season here, pal. Like, we're going to go real hard.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know if somebody can take a joke until they can't.
Well, look at H3, our boy. He's blocked me several times over now.
Boy, we
Little
know
old
he
me.
can't.
Little old me.
H3 had a video game. Guys, remember that? The ball one?
Wasn't that his
happened
last
for a
video
bit.
that he put out?
That,
Was it
no,
advertisement?
what happened was
Probably.
okay, this is what happened. He hadn't uploaded for months.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is when he started he started putting a lot of energy into the podcast, which is never, let's face it, it's never fucking been good.
Never
Not even
put
for a
energy
day.
into a podcast, guys. That's a bad
Never.
idea.
But no, but
Everybody
Never
likes
do
he
it.
anything.
started not doing his content, and then you get a notification that, oh hey, H3 uploaded. You turn it on and it's a goddamn ad. Like,
Yeah,
what a
it's an
slap
Yeah,
in the
everything
fucking
I do is
face.
an ad gen. It's like pro wrestling. The content that you're watching is just an advertisement for next content.
All right, who's your favorite? Who's one of your favorite YouTubers, Charles?
I don't know if I like. I don't know. Like when I think YouTubers, I think, well, who am I friends
Ahoy.
with? Who's actually cool?
don't think about friends. Whose content do you enjoy watching? If you have notifications and you saw that they've uploaded and you get excited, I gotta watch that.
Colossal is crazy.
Colossal is crazy is those notifications for uploading, those don't fucking happen. So we can leave him out of the equation. And I can happily roast him because I love him to absolutely.
There's a guy I'm supposed to be on a live stream with next week, so I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. Because I always watch his videos, but I'm like, I don't know about that. But the idea of somebody doing an ad, okay, sure. But if you tell me that it's somebody who doesn't,
if you haven't uploaded in months, it's a slap in the face.
So you're saying if Colossal puts out an ad, you would be upset about that. You'd be like, it's been 5 years and this is what you upload, you son of a bitch.
Since he hasn't uploaded in has it been 2 years?
It's been 2 years.
In September, it'll be 3 years, actually.
Fuck.
Since Foozy Part 2. Now, I can tell you right now, he would never do that because he's really, really iffy about ads and not so much the sellout thing because he's never been about money doing this. That's never been a drive of him.
He's doing it for the love of the game.
Exactly. He started keyboard and he's great at it. So, and yes, had he done that after not uploading for so long, he finally uploads and it's a goddamn ad. I'm going to throw hands. He's going to catch these hands. I would be actually really disappointed. I would be disappointed in him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter because it's if somebody wants to do what they're going to do, who the fuck cares? And you can't sit there and always say I always, you can't pander to your fans either. People that pander to their fans are I love you guys. Oh, fuck off. No, you don't. Get fucked.
I love my guys. I got a lot of good guys.
But do you tell them you love them all the time?
I mean, are you only in the mornings when I say good morning, kings. I love you guys.
Okay, but
and on my Discord, which is kind of secret now.
Do you get on a stream and tell everybody you love them all the time?
I think I do. I think I start and end every stream that way.
If you do the parasocial thing at a certain point, there's a lot of people that are not sincere with it.
Well, yeah, but I'm sincere about it.
I was on a live stream with
some guys the other day, and it's man, I really love you guys. This has been a great one. You boys be cool. Love you guys. And then the dudes, without missing a beat, were like, "Well, love you too, Charles. This is awesome, man." I was like, I felt good.
But there are people that take that and run with it, and then they act like you owe them, but you don't actually owe them anything.
Yeah. True. But you make a good point. Thank you so much, guys. We love you absolutely so much.
Shut
Thank you so much for watching
up,
this
Tom. God damn you.
Absolutely. But this episode, we could call this social and games because we can cover this for a far while in regards to this. But speaking of socials and obviously parasocial things, I think obviously your parasocial relationships are not great. Find friendships out of it, but you can.
Yeah, everybody make sure to follow me. Mask_bastard.
Best. Yes, Charles Khan. Charles Khan, where can we find you on
Hopefully by the time
Twitch?
this episode comes up, that'll still be his @.
Absolutely.
Mask_bastard. That's me, Charles Khan.
So we can find you
Twitch.tv,
on Twitch.
YouTube.com/Charles Khan. That's real fine.
Exactly. But dear friend Jen, where can we find you playing video games on your live stream? Which channel would that be?
Yeah, where are you streaming, Jen?
That would be on my YouTube channel with the same name.
Doe Jingles. Go and follow her over there.
Don't
ask me how to spell my own username because
DOE.
That's hard.
Exactly. You just search Doe Jens. You can find her on Twitter.
Don't think Doe like Homer. Think Doe like deer.
But you know what? On my server, on my Discord server, it's spelled Doe like Homer.
Doe.
Because do you know? Just real quick.
How about Doe like Pillsbury?
It's kind of a play on that. It's kind of sorry. It's kind of like a play on that a little bit.
It's kind of like a play. Welcome to Shakespeare. It's kind of like a play.
You know what, Charles?
We can play.
The fuck up.
You can play with us on our socials. Just Twitter.
To suffer the
You
slings
can't
and
play with
arrows.
me.
Outrageous.
Nobody can play with me. I'm unplayable. God damn
it. You're an unlockable character. So you can follow myself at twitter.com/Tom_. Videoga. Where can we find our socials? We can
My
find us
kingdom
on
for a horse. At
Oh,
Real Weird
fuck.
Sickos
Yeah,
on
This is getting away from us real quick.
So what's the way we can people find us?
Real Weird Sickos at Twitter.
Exactly. And you can find a lot of clips of the show there for instant little jobs in there.
Yes.
Support us however you want. You know how it is. If you're listening to this, you're pretty tech savvy. Absolutely. So on this episode of Socials and Games, I know this might be the last, much like the fetish episode, we'll have many more of Socials and Games because we can talk about like and subscribe. Don't ever double like and subscribe. Jen, what was your favorite thing from today? Actually, no. What is the weirdest thing that we talked about today before we shut the door on this chapel?
You made me think about Wombos again.
Wombos.
Yeah, the
weirdest thing.
Wombos. Like once you see Goatsy Wombo, once you see a man's ass singing,
you've peaked. Like Goatsy Wombo is the peak
because
nothing else can go after.
It's the sort of thing. It's like you remember the end of Blade Runner where Rutger Hauer gives that long speech and he's like, "I've seen things, man. I've seen things," and it's just all gone like tears and rain, and that's what it feels like. Because I've seen so much shit online, and it's just like, oh man, like what are we even doing here? Like you talk about messy tales, you talk about your goatsies, your tub girls, and I don't know, like it's just all so much. I feel
good tub thumping.
You know what?
Oh.
It's not enough.
Yeah, like your Pain Olympics. There's always somewhere. There's always a new hell that you can go to. Like you think Pain Olympics is the worst. No, actually, Messy Tales. There's a guy. He's a furry. He eats his own poop and died.
Well, that's life.
Yeah,
you fucked
you never get to climb the mountain
as a teenager.
that's tall as enough. Exactly. I think the weirdest thing for me was the weird Sonic ads that I looked on when Jen
great,
mentioned
aren't
them.
they?
Yeah,
those are
once they get
insane.
into like the Saturn era, they start to because they were trying to be edgy. That was the thing is Nintendo's stuff, and then Nintendo tried to be edgy, and it was weird. Like Nintendo's edgy. Well, it was like, well, what the hell is this? I think it was the Play It Loud campaign, is what they called it. If you go look those ads up, they're real bad.
Yeah.
But there's always a new adventure awaiting us, so I hope you join us for the next one, or check out some of the episodes on the cast. Want you to take care, look after yourself, and stay weird.